everybody, it's Safi and Marco, Dish Out on the Movies. And today we are doing episode 3 of Dark Winds called Antigonish.
Hey Safi, guess what?
What?
Only 3 episodes left of Dark Winds. Right?
Yeah. And that's a lot of episodes to go through.
You know what I'm going to be able to say next week?
Only 2?
No. Only 2 episodes left of Dark Winds.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we both looked up Antigonish. It's a place in Nova Scotia, and I did hear it I watched the episode again, so I could clarify some detail, and because it doesn't exactly follow the book, and even if it did, I don't remember every detail in the book. So, and they mentioned it in the last, I think it's Captain Largo.
Ew, you just spit on my hand.
Okay, Marco's gonna act up again, drive me crazy. But they mention it near the end. And I don't know, I'd have to watch it maybe again, just that part, to try to figure out what they're talking about.
Captain Lardass?
Largo, Largo. I don't know, it makes sense that would be him. But he's not, he doesn't seem very, I don't know. I recognize the actor. He's been in a lot of stuff. I think he even used to be in a soap opera a million years ago. But he's been around a while. I didn't know he's Native American, but I guess he is. So, anyway, what do I want to say about the episode? I did like it. I watched it again. There's a lot of funny parts, if you can believe that. And there's some dangerous, exciting parts, and they're kind of jumbled together. And the only thing I see the problem with it, I told Marco it was like ornaments on a Christmas tree. Each little piece of it is like an ornament, because they just don't seem very, I don't know, there's something
connected.
about it. They don't seem very connected. But they all, well, not all of them, but the killer was very, in the book, he didn't leave any stone unturned. And they did say this in the book, in the TV episode. They said that he didn't want to leave anybody, he wasn't going to leave any survivors. They said it in a different way, but that's what they meant. And that's why he tried to kill the kid with that bomb and it all. And he was in the hospital trying to kill Chi.
Let's go through the episode.
Yes, so let's go through the episode.
Let's go through the episode.
Oh boy.
Well, I'm growing up, Safi. Let's go through the episode.
Okay, Marco.
It starts off.
Let's not do that.
It starts off with the bad guy, and he makes himself a meal.
I have no idea what that is.
Later on in the episode, he talked about his mom cooking for him every Sunday.
Well, and that she made him food. She made him a scarf or something.
I guess he's kind of reenacting that, like if his mom cooked at home.
I guess, but what he made was, I don't know. It looked like
it looked like a dessert.
Well, there was gelatin in it, so I have no idea. And it had spices, like fresh spices in it. And I think it had meat. I have no idea.
Probably crack.
No, Marco, it wasn't. That guy doesn't go on drugs. He wants to be focused on what his objectives are.
So then Jim Chi's in the hospital, and there's this whole sequence where the bad guy comes there and chases after him and triggers a fire alarm. And in the process of that, he kills a young would-be police person.
FBI. He wants to be in the FBI. I don't know if he kills him. Because
it's implied.
Well, when I watched it again, that's why I said I watched these details. The hospital scene, it was really chaotic, and it was scary, and it was hard to see. And I watched it. What was it? It was still light out when we were. Was it still light out? No, I think it was dark when we watched it. It is dark by then, but I also watched it in the daytime hours. It's real cloudy here. We've been having rain all day, but it looked like what happened was the killer jumped out the window because he heard the cops were there and trying to help Chi.
But he also had a one-on-one fight with Jim Chi, which...
Yeah, he did.
I thought that part was cool.
It was.
And I thought that whole sequence,
see,
the beginning of the episode was the best part. And then after that, not that the rest of the episode is bad, but the rest of the episode was like a series of vignettes.
Well, like I said, they're like ornaments on a tree.
And
each one is like an ornament
or a
vignette.
And I think that one of the worst parts is how it seems like they're taking a lot of influence from Better Call Kim, because first off, they have the black and white thing now in front of every episode. I hope they don't do that next week, but I think they will. And they even admitted, right, Safi? They even admitted that it was inspired by Better Call Saul.
Well, yeah, they did, and they said they were doing some kind of twist on noir, and I'm like, no, you're not.
Yeah, they said it's noir.
I know what noir is. It is not noir. Come on, give me a break.
It was not noir.
And I don't care about that. And people who love Tony Hillerman books don't care about noir. Believe me.
Noir. People who like Fargo don't care about noir either. Like when they did that for Fargo season 4, that was a fail. Like it worked when it was in black and white. It actually looked good when it was in black and white, but they decided to have it in color, so they just screwed themselves over with that. But another thing is, there's this thing that happens that Safi doesn't agree with me on. They're going on a manhunt for the bad guy. They want to go all over, and guess what? Emanuelita is not allowed to go.
He wants her to work on something else.
She is forced to stay there and look at papers that were in the box.
They're
burned papers.
They're burned, but you can still see what they could be related to, and so you can look it up.
To me, that was kind of treated like, here we go. The man is forcing the woman to stay at the police station and do this crap while the guys go out and search for the bad guy. And I was taking it like that, like there was something that happened in Better Call Saul that was pretty similar, where Kim, the worst TV character in history, she was forced to go to the basement and work down there after...
that was a punishment.
But yeah, that was different.
She's not being punished.
That was different, but it felt like that, where it's like, she's got to stay there. And see, this is one of the many reasons why she wants to join the Border Patrol.
Oh, well, I didn't take it the wrong way, because he's trying to figure out what is going on with this guy. What are his motives? What was his original motive? He went... guy is from somewhere else.
Well, I didn't...
Some other state. He comes all the way to the middle of a Navajo Indian reservation and starts killing off people.
I didn't think...
Why?
I didn't think that it was a bad thing. Like, if I was a Manuelita... I wouldn't think of it as a bad thing, but I looked at it the way they framed it, and the way that, last episode they had that whole thing with her and the letter, and I felt like that little segment was like a continuation off that. Like, see? This is why she's gonna leave. I
don't know. I I don't know. I just don't. They have to. He is trying to see, and it could be because he doesn't really completely, and he's trying. He doesn't completely convey the character of Jim Leaphorn in the book, who likes.
You mean Joe?
Joe Leaphorn. He leaves no stone unturned. Anybody who reads the books know this. He is very thorough. Remember the maps, put the pins in them, and he's actually, I mean, he looks at every little detail. And this is a thing, when they went to the Malpais, where they found the remnants of the burned box, they found these papers, and they were partially burned. Why? Why were the contents of the box burned? What were special about these papers that they had to be burned? And so it's something he's trying to find out, because they don't know if they're going to find the guy. What happened was they were trying to figure out where he had gone, and whatever he'd done. You know that the Navajo reservation, if you've even been there, which I have, it's just very spread out, and there's desert and just nothingness for miles and miles and miles. And this guy is not from there. He's badly wounded, because what happened was he was fighting with Jim Chi. He had shot that other guy, who I think he's still alive, because
I think he's dead.
Well, they said, get a doctor in here. That's what Manuelita said.
Safi, Emanuelita is special.
Well, she checked him.
She's
I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, he jumped out of a window.
Yeah,
He didn't. I thought, well, maybe he'd open it and go through the window, but he jumped out of it through plate glass.
That was pretty cool too. I thought that was kind of surprising that he would do that.
He's bleeding all over his face, and he fell. He wasn't on the bottom floor. He fell to the ground. So he was kind of hurt.
No, I thought he landed on a car.
Well, whatever he landed on, he didn't land on something soft, because it crashed.
Well,
he crashed to the ground. I didn't know if it was all the window or what. But
that reminds me of, I really think that this episode is similar to an episode in the first season. What was that one episode where, like, they were chasing the bad guy in the desert, or the bad guy was chasing them? Like, remember that long hair guy that they were chasing or something? And remember how I said that could have been one whole episode, just that?
Yeah, well, kind of.
I felt like this is like a similar situation where they could have really spent the whole episode in the hospital. But see, they only have 6 episodes, so they can't do that.
Well, Marco's thinking it's a gigantic building. It's not.
No, I'm just thinking that
Well, I don't know how they could spend a whole episode in the hospital in a small building.
In terms of suspense, and in terms of, like, they have the little hospital segment, and then what happens the rest of the episode? Like,
they're chasing after the guy, and then they show.
Let's go through it. Ow!
So anyway, the guy's roaming the desert. They're trying to figure out what direction he would go, because in certain directions there's different roads that go through the Navajo reservation. Like, which way would he go, or would he even know which way to go? And then they're looking for him. There's a manhunt, and then they have the little boy. Remember, the little boy's father was killed.
Yeah, you said he was a girl last video.
Well, I guess I was like the killer. I thought he was a girl. I don't remember from the book at all if there was a kid, and I don't think there was. But anyway, his father and uncle had both been murdered by this guy, or his grandpa. I can't remember which. And the guy who was killed in front of the hospital, the car bomb. And they were both his relatives. They were both killed, so he was going to go. His mother was coming to pick him up. And so Jim Chi, he left the hospital. He came to the sheriff's station to see if there's anything he could do. and he took the little boy to the place to meet his mom. Shiprock.
And
I've been there too.
that whole segment was kind of like lighthearted and good at character building, and
It was kind of a respite from all the manhunt.
Is Jim
stuff.
Chi gonna be a PI the whole season?
I don't know.
Because his character, it feels like
he needs to be in the sheriff's where he belongs.
Yeah, it really feels like kind of like it sticks out.
I know, it just isn't him. And I know people agree with me because it's not that I don't think we've had any comments on our site, but I've seen comments on Facebook. They don't like what they've done. A lot of people don't like what they did with this character.
Well, the actor's good.
Yeah.
And, it's like, they made how many books where he's in the police department, like he's working with them, like
I think
how
about
many
almost
books?
every one.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Like
he just may not be working with Joe Leaphorn in every book. That's the thing. Because I did read when I was reading it, he was working on separate things and maybe in a different department, but he was not a PI. Not that I recall ever.
Well, there you go, Safi. So, they should fix that probably. I don't know where this is going to go with him, because in the first season it was like, he was corrupt and he was feeding information, and it's like now he's on his own. And so how is it going to happen where he joins up with them?
Well, it's going to be her.
Her?
It's going to be Manuelita. That's.
She's gonna say, "Hey, Jim."
No, he wants to be with her, and he also wants to be there.
No. She's going to say, "Hey, Jim, I challenge you to a staring contest. Whoever loses has to join the police department." Oh, wait, I'm already a part of the police, so that'll only be you. And then what happens? She scowls, and she scowled a lot in this episode.
She's really good at scowling.
She looked like...
She is a master at it. I've never seen an actor so good at it. Ever.
It's kind of scary.
I like it because I've read the word scowled in so many books, and I never could imagine it before, but I just think of her. She's good at it.
She really embodies like the strong female lead archetype where, nowadays where like all they do is just scowl all the time. It's pretty funny because
Marco, that's so sexist and disgusting.
It's true. That's all they do, Safi. I mean
I've
it's
never
ridiculous.
Seen a man or a woman actor scowl.
I mean, Safi.
Any good? No good scowling. She's the master of it.
Safi, she scowls more. She scowls more than Christopher Lee did as Dracula, and that's saying something. Like
I don't know him scowling.
He did.
He just, gave devilish.
He would fucking
looks.
growl at people and hiss at them and make faces, and that's what she does. And it's like she is not a villainous character, but she loves to scowl. And I think that I don't know. Maybe she'll smile more when she gets with Jim Chi. Like maybe that's what they're trying to do. Like now she's just really mad and sad because she doesn't have a man, and then once she does, she'll be smiling. Well,
she'll be smiling with him.
Yeah.
I hope that I can't imagine Ann Hillerman has a little hand in this series. She does have a hand in it because she does continue to write the books. In fact, she may have written a brand new one. I thought I saw something on Facebook, but I haven't I didn't really look at it. I don't spend much time. I usually just look at animal stuff, and I thought I saw something that she had written a new book, but I could be wrong. But she still, and who are the focus of her books? Jim Chi and Bernie Manuelito. So, I mean,
Manuelita.
I can't imagine that they're going to mess up, send her to the border and have him roaming around in these gross leisure suits with the collar open. I just can't imagine it.
Well, I just feel like...
continue to do that.
Imagining
they are doing it, but continue.
Imagining, like, the books, or would you say it's like in the books? Did she scowl all the time in the books? Was like that a
No.
character trademark of
No.
hers? Well, that's what's
remember
weird
that.
to me is that like it feels kind of like she shouldn't scowl as much, but I kind of
I think it's great because she's so good at it. And
Yeah,
I've never seen any actor or actress, either one, do it as good as she does.
I guess I kind of hope she does because then it's more entertaining.
I
But
think
at the
it's
same
cool.
time, I don't know.
It's so funny when somebody uses a character word like that to describe what they're doing in terms of their personality, and you can't really imagine it sometimes. You can really see it on her, and
I just
it
think
helps your
well,
imagination.
just think about this, Safi. When I think of strong female leads,
oh, brother.
like real strong female leads, I think about like Jodie Foster and Silence of the Lesbians, and then
Marco, what the
I mean
hell?
Silence of the Lambs.
That's really...
I was just saying lesbians because Jodie Foster's a lesbo.
Okay, who cares?
I do. I care.
No, he
But-
doesn't. Why saying stupid stuff like that?
In that
Like
movie,
over the summer, he took a dumb pill.
I did actually, and then I got off of it. And you remember that, Safi?
Yeah, I do.
But in Silence of the Lambs, does Clarice scowl the whole movie, Safi? Does she just make mean faces at everyone?
No, not at all.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, she didn't need to do that to be a strong female lead.
Oh, well, maybe that's just her way. That's just her, who knows?
Like, she doesn't scowl in real life all the time. She's scowling on this show. So it has to be like a decision for this show, for this character.
Okay, well, let's move on.
Well, let's move on, yeah.
Because there's
Well,
a really funny, hilarious section
yeah,
with the killer, if you can believe that.
I was talking about Jim Chi eating pickles and
Oh, yeah.
snow
let's
cones
talk
together.
About that too. Remember, we said he had to go take the boy to meet his mom. So they meet at a drive-in eating place, like a, off the wall, or, just, if you've never heard of it. I've never heard of that. And anyway, he said, something I ate when I was a kid, I really loved it, and it was like heaven on earth or something, and that's a really sweet snow cone, which, in New Mexico, of course, I think it was chilly there, because certain things, I saw people, you could see their breath, and things like that indicate it was chilly there when they were shooting the series. And what did he say? What kind? A spicy pickle.
Yeah.
And he was eating a spicy. So they went. He went and got
He likes
pickle.
He likes salty sweet combination is Jim Chi's favorite. So, kind of going along with that, I guess Emanuelita is spicy and salty and sweet at the same time.
Yeah. So he.
Is she? Is she like that in the book?
No, she's
Does
more like Emma. She's kind of like
Oh, really?
Emma. Yeah.
Oh.
In fact, when I see Emma, I think of her.
Oh, well, I to be fair, I wouldn't have wanted to see that. Like, I wouldn't have wanted to see her act like Emma.
Well,
But-
not completely like Emma, but because she was younger. See, when they have Emma in the book, she seems a lot older. They seem older, and she in the show, I think Emma is younger than Joe. So, but remember, Emma was not in all the books because she got sick. She got cancer and passed away, and he was left alone.
Well, I kind of hope that, like, if they did, like, a lot of seasons, I would hope that she would die, like, second to last season or something. Or maybe third to last. Like, I wouldn't want to have her, like, die next season or something.
I don't know. I think it's good that they have her. That she's playing more of a significant role in the show, because
I think that's
in the
good.
books it wasn't that significant at all.
But speaking of her, they had this whole section with her, well, two sections, First off, you never talked about Mary Landon.
Oh, yeah.
You never talked about Lisa Simpson grown up.
They brought in the character of Mary Landon. Now, if you've read the books, Mary Landon was a teacher. And Jim Chi met her at some kind of rug auction or something. I think she was getting a rug. I don't know what. I think it was for a family member or something. But she was not from the area, of course. She was like a teacher. And he starts having a thing with her.
Ugh.
But in this show, she's a reporter from the LA Times. And she is reporting about they had some kind of Native American, I don't know, something about...
Forced sterilization of
Well,
women.
they did, but they didn't, that is not what it was. Some kind of act, but it didn't have that kind of a negative title. It had a positive title. And she said that, well, I didn't write down the statistics, but the rate of Native, after this was passed, and they said like over 300 people in the Senate and Congress voted yes, and only 30-something voted no to pass it. And
Yeah, we did the opposite at where we live. We voted no on something recently.
On Proposition 1 to gut the Ohio Constitution. So anyway...
That was pretty funny.
And we got our way. But anyway, she is... And so, anyway, the rate of women, of Native American women getting sterilized as a result of this legislation, this federal legislation, had skyrocketed. Now, what I don't understand is, how does she know this? I didn't even think about that. I wasn't even looking at that. I just kept thinking, Mary Landon is supposed to be a teacher, gets together with Jim Chi, and I don't see it.
But Safi,
I don't see that happening.
This is a weird character. Personally, I would say she's my least favorite character of the whole series so far. She just seems kind of like a strong whammon who's on the show. Very similar to the reporter character on Hell on Wheels season 3. That annoying
I thought
person.
She fit in.
Well, she fit in because she did voiceovers and she was announcing what happened in the town. But this person, she's just like there, and I just think like
fit in at all.
If she gets together with Jim Chi, like I'm gonna throw up.
I hope not.
I'm gonna throw up.
It doesn't. If they're not gonna have her be the teacher, because if she's a reporter. I mean, she is really just visiting.
And you're saying,
if she
too...
was a teacher, she was living in the area.
You said, too... You said some bullshit about, like, in the books, she wants Jim Chi to run off with her to her homeland, and it's like, I swear to God, if they do that, I'm gonna barf.
Well, she's from Wisconsin or something.
Ugh.
And she decides she wants to leave and go... She's going to go see her parents... I think she wanted him to go see them. He may have done that, but then he goes back to the, to work.
Guess who's coming to dinner?
And she decides, she goes there, she decides to stay, and she wants him to join her or something. This is in the book.
Barf.
And he says, he almost does it, because he really did care about her, but he decides not to. And that's all I remember, but I hope that kind of thing doesn't happen here, because they don't go together at all.
Yeah.
She just is totally out of place.
It seems
totally
like,
out of place.
Why did they name her that character if they're not going to plan on doing that? Like, that's the thing. Like,
I don't know.
Same with Jim Chi. He's not really the character, so why even call him Jim Chi?
I don't know.
Why do you make these characters and then name them after characters that are not like them at all?
I don't know. I hope they don't do that. I'd rather he get together, because in the Ann Hillerman books, they're together. In fact, I think they get married. I could be wrong. It's been a while, and I sold all my books because we moved from a house to an apartment, so we had to get rid of everything. So-
Emanuelita, do you promise and pledge to love your husband in sickness and in health and scowl at him for the rest of his life? And she's just gonna scowl at her wedding. Would she? Would they do that on the show? Like have
No,
her
I think
scowl at
she's-
her own wedding?
The only thing I remember from the books about her, one thing is that she likes to eat cheeseburgers and drink Coke.
She does? I thought you said Joe did.
No, I don't know.
I thought you said Joe took his wife to get Coke and burgers.
No.
You said that. You said last episode he had a burger in the hospital,
brought
gave
that
it to
to
Jim
Jim
Chee,
Chee. Joe
and
Lee
you
brought
said that
that.
was a big thing for Joe in the books.
No, not for Joe. For Jim Chee and for Bernie.
I couldn't
Bernie
see.
and Jim.
I couldn't see this interpretation of Emanuelita eating a burger. Like I could see her. I don't know. Like, what do you think she eats, Safi?
I don't know. They haven't shown anything, but let's move on.
She ate chips.
Okay, well, let's move. Yeah,
Well,
she likes chips.
We were talking about Mary Landon. I said,
okay, well, we're done with Mary Landon.
I
We
said-
don't like the character.
I said,
we don't like what the character.
barf, 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 barf.
What's happened is they're showing her trying to interview all these hospital personnel, especially she's tried to interview Joe Emily Porn, and then she tried to interview another person, another nurse, of the same, caliber and that same place, wearing the same kind of clothes, and neither one wanted to do it. And she said, "Well, how is anybody gonna help them? How can anybody help them if they don't know about what's going on?"
And then there's a random scene of Emma helping a mother give birth at home, and then she goes out to the car and cries. That was a very weird scene. I felt like that was also this episode. I would say the main thing was that it felt very disjointed. It didn't really feel like the pieces fit together this episode.
I don't know. I think we should talk about at least.
We are.
Let's talk about the bad guy. What he does.
I knew you liked that, so let you talk about it.
He's out in the middle of nowhere, and he's been out. They figured at least 8 to 11 hours or 12 hours out on a reservation, middle of nowhere, and he's had nothing to eat, no water or anything. Well, he comes upon one of these, and I tell you, I mean it. I've seen it. The Navajo, they have these houses, these homesteads, and they're in the middle of nowhere. And they're all scattered about. And he comes upon this place where there's a lot of sheep. And it's this Navajo woman. Looks like she's living by herself. She's older, and but she's fit enough and young enough to have a herd of sheep and a horse. She has a sheepdog, and they do have, if you go out there, some people have sheep. And anyway, they probably have no running water because she had a big, giant bucket of water. They usually have something where they can gather rainwater, and that's where they get their drinking water. And she said she had to carry it from somewhere, and and she spent a long time. Because what happened was, he saw the bucket, and it was frozen, and it looked like it was naturally frozen. Like I said, I think it was cold at the time that they were filming this, and it was frozen, and he had to break the ice, and he drank a bunch of the water, and she called him she spoke only Navajo. She didn't speak any English, and she called him a coyote, but because he was he had bled all over his face, and he had cuts and everything, and she started wiping his face, and he didn't have any coat. Remember, he ran through the desert without a coat. He had just like a lab coat type of thing on, because remember, he had disguised himself as a doctor, and he had gotten made himself a false ID and wore it, and so he had no coat, and so she put a warm blanket on him, took him inside, and she fed him, and he said he was eating, it was like a soup, these chunks of whatever in it, and he said, "This is really good. My mom made it. I'd like to give this recipe to my mom." And of course, she can't understand anything she said.
She said that it's sheep eyeballs. Yeah. And then there was another funny thing where he was reading this magazine that she had, and she said, "No, that's for the outhouse."
Well, she said those pages are really thin. They make good toilet paper.
Yeah.
Of course, he doesn't know anything she's saying, so she gave him another magazine.
That was pretty funny.
He'd seen something in there. My mom made me a scarf like this one time. No, wait, I gave my mom a scarf like this last year for her birthday or something like that. And then she said the thing about the toilet paper for the outhouse.
And he ends up stealing a saddle and a horse from her to get away.
I think he killed her.
I don't think he did. I just think if I were the killer, I wouldn't want to be the killer. But if I were the killer, I would think she speaks only Navajo. How am I going to be able to explain that I need some sort of transportation?
She wouldn't.
I wouldn't be able to, so I'm just going to take it, and then, and I don't know.
Well, it was interesting. I watched the whole scene again, and he kept looking over. He saw that humongous, beautiful leather saddle on the floor, and they showed it where he looked several times over at the saddle, so you knew he was going to steal whatever it was, which was probably a horse. He didn't see the horse right away when he first came there. And so she was just sitting there so he was standing up, and she was just sitting there in the chair, and it looked like she was kind of half asleep maybe, or thinking, or I'm not sure. I'm not sure what, but then the next moment you see him, he's on the horse riding out, just slowly riding out of the place. So I can't imagine that she would have let him have. And what was interesting at the very beginning, she talked about her relative had seen a monster coming in. It was just like him, and it was all green. It had green fur all over.
A red fur all over.
Red fur all over. I'm sorry, and green eyes. And then she said it wasn't a monster. It was an Irish farmer. But she said a monster, so I think she recognized that he was bad. But she didn't act afraid or anything. She just helped him like a mother. She was being motherly to him. So
that was cool. That was another good part.
Whether he killed or not.
So the episode ends up where it's at nighttime, and he's sitting alone in his trailer. And we see a police car pull up, and we recognize, if we're smart, Safi, we recognize that that's the beginning of episode 1. So now...
Remember they said it was... They showed this big shootout at a trailer in episode 1, and then they said 4 days ago.
6 days ago.
Yeah, whatever it was. 6 days ago, and then we've done all
this. I thought that was kind of a failure, because they've only had 3 episodes, and technically only 1 episode or 2 episodes that they've had to build this up. You know, you had episode 1 where they introduced it, and then episode 2, it didn't happen there, and then episode 3 it happens, and it's like they kind of jumped the shark there. Like I felt like that wasn't really a good build up to that. Like in comparison, in Hannibal season 2, in episode 1 they showed a very climactic scene happening between 2 main characters. And it doesn't happen until episode 13. So that was a very long build-up, and it was perfectly done. And Hannibal Season 2, Episode 13 is known as like one of the best TV episodes ever made. So, that's what I'm saying. Like, when you have 6 episodes, you run into problems like this.
Yeah. That's a shame.
Because Safi didn't even realize it. She was like, what? Are you sure, Mirko? I'm going to have to watch it again tomorrow after I watch Oprah.
What? I didn't watch Oprah.
After I
watch that show. Ever.
After I do my morning exercises.
No, Marco. I had shipping to do.
My Qigong.
Marco had a doctor's appointment. I had shipping, so I don't know what he's talking about. So anyway, my rating or my grade for the episode, I gave it an A-, and just because the minus is because of the disjointedness of the scenes. I thought they didn't really go together.
I give the episode a B+ as well. I mean, I guess I was the only one who gave
reason.
it. Similarly, I felt like it was disjointed, definitely, and I just feel like, once again, like, I'm tempted to give it an A-, but I just can't. So I'm just not going to. And there would be nothing wrong if, like, this whole season, like, every episode was a B+, like, because I'd rather have 6 episodes that are B+ than have last season. The first season, like with that, where it was like C, B, D, C, B, like, like, that's not good. Like, I'd rather have B+ the whole season.
Yeah, because it would be consistent.
Yeah,
and it would be consistently good.
With
B+ isn't
with
anything to be
yeah.
ashamed of.
With television shows, consistency is more important than having like A+ episodes. Like with Better Call Kim, the final season, the first half, they had like 1 good episode out of 7 for the first half, and that was the whole point. They did that on purpose because they thought, we're building up to it. We gotta set everything up for episode 7. We have to have these boring, trash, piece of shit, fucking shit episodes so that we can get to episode 7. And I'd rather have B+, B+, B+.
Yeah.
All right,
So,
Safi?
anyway, if you like this, give it a thumbs up and become one of our subscribers. We welcome new subscribers because we like to get feedback, and we also like to hear what you have to say about the episode yourself. And also watch for or listen for our review of MasterChef, the next MasterChef episode, where they will be making, it's another outside cooking challenge, which forebodes something not good, but where they're going to be cooking meals for 100 kids in Dodger Stadium. So that's it, everybody. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.